What's going on, guys? So today's going to be an interesting video, I hope. I have the Texas Pride 14-foot dump trailer connected to the truck. We are going to be heading over to the landscaping supply company that has all the rock and materials like that. Going to be picking up several tons worth of crushed limestone so we can add it to the pond a little bit later, and we'll have all the materials ready. Probably gonna add maybe 6,000 pounds worth, 3 tons, and that should be enough to do what we want to do on the bottom of the pond. Absolutely love this trailer. If you don't know much about it, this was actually, you know, I want to say custom because they build these trailers regularly, but they sure added some customized features to it, which I really like. But this is a Texas Pride 14-foot end dump, which means the cylinder's right here. Trailer, this thing is rated at 12,000 pounds is what we rated it on the sticker, and the actual capacity of this is built to 19,000 pounds worth of capacity, so our overall gross vehicle weight. Now, again, we have it set on the sticker at 12,000 pounds. So in essence, what this is an overbuilt trailer. A lot of people think, you know, if you derate a trailer, you take one that's designed to do heavier work and you rate it at a lower number, that you're kind of trying to skirt the law. And that's not the case. The fact is, you can overbuild whatever you want well beyond what it's, you know, going to be actually carrying, and just rate it for what you plan on carrying and not for that overkill excess that you won't ever need. And you're not doing anything but overbuilding a trailer at that point. It's kind of what Ford did with the F450. This F450 can certainly handle a lot more weight than what the sticker says, because they wanted to keep this in a lower class of truck, or class 3 vehicle instead of a class 4 vehicle. And by doing that, what they ended up having to do is they overbuilt the truck. The truck's heavier than a normal dually, but they rated it at the same or even lower than some traditional dualies because of the extra weight. So yeah, overbuilding something is certainly not a problem. It's just limiting you in terms of what you can actually carry payload wise by making something heavier when you add more materials. Anyways, we're going to take off, head over to the landscape supply company, get this thing loaded up, and see how it goes. All right, so before he starts loading it, we're at about 700 pounds of tongue weight on the way safe. See what it's like when he's done. All right, so we are loaded up, and show you what 3 tons looks like. Yep, doesn't fill it up much, and that is 3 tons of crushed limestone, white crushed limestone. And he positioned it pretty much directly over the axles, so it shouldn't be much of an impact on tongue weight, but let's check it out real quick. All right, so tongue weight actually went down slightly. So this is the effect you get whenever you load weight in the back of a trailer. It's gonna act like a teeter-totter, and it's gonna be like a scale. So you put weight towards the back, some weight will come off. Still have about 600 pounds resting on the truck, so I think we'll be okay. We're gonna go ahead and head back. All right, so we have 6,000 pounds of white crushed limestone. And, you know, this is a really good example of what a half-ton truck with the appropriate payload package and towing package could really tow. Right now, the total weight of my trailer is probably around 12 to 13,000 pounds. So it's relatively heavy if you were going to compare this to, say, a travel trailer. Now, the difference here is that from a weight and balance perspective, the majority of the weight that's been added has actually been added to the axles of the trailer and not the tongue of the truck. Because as you saw, the tongue weight of the truck was relatively unchanged. I have 600 pounds worth of tongue weight resting on the truck, whereas I have 3 tons or 6,000 pounds worth of weight that's been added to the back of the dump trailer. Now, why is this important? Now, I know there's going to be folks who are commercial you know, construction guys that are going to say they put, you know, 15 yards of material in the back of their dump truck. What's 3 tons when you're comparing it to that? Well, the reality for a lot of folks is that the 3 tons that we just added to the back of my dump trailer is more weight than a lot of people have in terms of the total weight of their travel trailer. So there's something to think about. There's a lot of 6,000 pound travel trailers out there, and just the rock material that I've added to my dump trailer is as heavy as a lot of smaller travel trailers. So this was something that I felt was important to discuss, because if you have a trailer like I have, where it's set up right now, where again about 600 pounds is resting on the back of the truck, it's not ideally balanced, right? I really should have a little bit more weight rested towards the front of the trailer, because I'm not at that 10% weight transfer that a lot of people would want, where you have, you know, let's say 12,000 pound trailer right now, 13,000 pound trailer, roughly 1,200 to 1,300 pounds should be resting on the back of the truck. But again, most of that weight is resting on the axles of the trailer. Now, something else to think about here is the profile of this trailer. This is a 14-foot long dump trailer. It's relatively short. It's got a super high gross trailer weight rating of 19,000 pounds traditionally, but we had it derated to 12,000 pounds. And whenever you look at that type of towing profile behind a half-ton truck, that's really where you have to understand the big difference between my trailer at 12,000 pounds right now versus a travel trailer at 12,000 pounds might be 38 feet long and 11.5 feet tall and 8.5 feet wide. So there's a significant difference in terms of wind profile. This trailer right here is maybe 5.5 feet tall off the ground. It's all steel. It's got tandem axles on a very short 14-foot, you know, dump body. Overall length of this trailer is probably closer to about 18 feet whenever you take the A-frame into account, but still significantly smaller than most even compact RVs. Yeah, this is really where, when I talk about the ideal type of trailer for a half-ton truck comes into play. I believe there are a lot of half-ton trucks with max payload packages, max towing packages, that could haul the trailer as it's configured right now with very little issue. If you have the towing capacity and you have the payload capacity right now, you're in a pretty good situation. I still would want a little bit more tongue weight or hitch weight resting forward. I'd want more like 1,000 pounds versus the relatively light 600 pounds we have on here right now, but I'm monitoring it. I don't have any sway or anything going on right now. Again, largely in part to the fact that the trailer is aligned very well and there's really no wind and there's not much of a trailer profile for wind to even impact that much. But all that said, at the end of the day, my half-ton recommendations are often based on RVs and half-tons, not this type of trailer. Flat utility trailer, cargo trailer, stuff that you can manipulate where you want that weight to rest, is going to tow entirely different than a giant wall that's relatively lightweight for its length, height, and width, being pulled behind a very lightweight pickup truck. So for those of you folks who think I'm just negative against half-ton trucks, this is just something I want you guys to realize, that, you know, my dump trailer, as it sits at roughly 12,000 pounds, the way it's right now loaded up with 6,000 pounds worth of stone, is very towable by many half-ton trucks, as long as you have the towing capacity. This really comes into play now with towing capacity, because a lot of half-ton trucks only have a 7,000 or 8,000 pound towing capacity, and you think, because the advertisements and the commercials say, you know, 13,600 pounds, that your truck is equipped like that. And in most cases, it's not equipped anywhere near that, unless you specifically had that truck built from the factory using their Build It Online tool, and you spec'd it so it would have all of those maximum capacities. Anyways, guys, we're gonna go and get back to the property. We're gonna use the bad boy tractor to unload this material and dump it around the perimeter of the pond so I can spread it out evenly. Okay, so we're back at the property, and I got the trailer positioned back here, so it's gonna be easier for me to grab my tractor and simply open up the gate and unload or scoop the stone into the bucket and then drive it over there, so I'm not having to run from here all the way up there and back. But something interesting, which some people may not realize, is whenever you're hauling loose aggregate like this, let me hop up here real quick, it doesn't stay in a pile unless you have it in like individualized compartments to where it can't move. So it's shifted, and a lot of the weight is shifted forward as I've been braking or as I slow down, because gravity and inertia want this stuff to move forward. So yeah, as it's moved forward, my tongue weight has changed a little bit. And I want you guys to see this. So if we're looking at the tongue weight now, we're closer to 700 pounds. So we've had roughly 100 pounds worth of weight transition to the hitch of the truck. Now, how did this happen and why is it only 100 pounds? Because again, whenever you look at the axle placement of this trailer and how the axles are kind of in the middle towards the back of here, it takes a lot of weight to really transfer weight. Now, if he had taken all of that and he had loaded it like right here, then the weight on the back of the truck would have been very high. Probably would have been close to 2,000 pounds. But because the weight was placed over the axles and some of it transitioned forward as I drove, not a lot of weight transferred forward, but enough to increase the tongue weight on the truck by 100 pounds. But that is something you want to keep an eye on depending on how you load material. Now what I'm going to do is grab the tractor, not the excavator, I really don't need it for this job, and I'm going to scoop, or at least position it under the back to catch it like this. Then we'll shovel the stones in. We'll bring the stones over here and we'll drop them around the side. Similar to how I did the clay when the clay was dropped off. I scooped it out with the mini axe, put it right here in a big pile, and then used the tractor to position it all around the edge. So we're going to do something very similar to that and try to get them positioned in a way that we can simply rake them to cover up the bottom before we start filling up the pond. Very cool. A lot of folks might say, you know, why didn't you put a pond liner in? And this was actually something we could have done. We still can if we want to throw a pond liner in here. But, you know, the folks that actually did this said that with this clay, as compacted as it is, it really shouldn't have much of a seepage issue. Now, we know we're going to lose some water. We'll lose some water through the sides. We'll lose some water through the area under the deck here. We might throw some bentonite in to help, you know, patch up those areas. But for the most part, we think we'll be okay. I'm going to pull this Flexzilla hose out if I don't think that it's doing an adequate job of filling up the pond. I think this one is only this isn't a 3/4 inch. This is a 5/8 inch. So this is a pretty narrow diameter hose, and it's not going to do a heck of a lot by way of filling this thing up quickly. But if we can fill it up enough, then at least we know that it's outrunning the seepage. It's outrunning what's actually being absorbed in. So we might start with this just to see how it's filling up and then switch to a 3/4 inch or even a 1 inch or maybe even something larger if we feel we really need to start flooding water into this to be able to get it to fill up. But it's been so dry out here lately, I don't think we're gonna have much of an issue. Ran through about a 15-second tiny little heavy droplet rainstorm when I left the aggregate place, but that was fleeting. It's gone, and the skies are clear and blue again. So wasn't enough to do anything here. You can actually see the water that was left in the hose is leaving more of a wet mark on this clay than anything else. But yeah, the next thing we're going to do is grab the tractor. I'm probably going to move the excavator out of the way so I can get the tractor everywhere I need it. Start scooping up rocks and place them around the edge so we can get them all placed at the bottom of this thing and looking nice. Okay, so got my shovels out here. Got the bucket kind of curled up underneath the lip of the trailer. Going to start transferring some of this material into the bucket, then using the tractor to position it around the pond. Move the excavator out of the way so I can get all the way around. And yeah, this shouldn't take too long. I'm anticipating it'll probably be a couple dozen trips maybe, but hopefully we'll be able to knock it out relatively quickly. My goal is to avoid getting this stuff down here, so I'm gonna have to be real careful. Inevitably, I'm sure some of it's gonna end up down here, but if I can avoid it, that'll probably be best. Anyways, I'm gonna get to shoveling. It's all coming along. This pile is much taller than some people may think. But yeah, we're moving it slowly but surely. This is actually my second load. Doesn't help that it's over 100 degrees outside, but we'll get it all knocked out. I say we, I mean me, because I'm doing it by myself. Okay, so I got 4 bucket loads in the bad boy transferred over. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I should have plenty to do what we're trying to do. And the whole point of all this is just to take that material and spread it out kind of evenly across the bottom. So when the water is in here and it's clear, you'll be able to kind of see through the bottom really well, especially when we start putting fish back in here like koi or large goldfish and things. But yeah, it's a very, very hot day. I actually have about 3 or 4 more tasks I'm also going to get started on. I'm going to wait till it cools down just a little bit and I'll get out here and do the rest of this. But yeah, the main point of this was to kind of show you what we were doing today and what the precautions you should take whenever you are trying to compare the different types of trailers that you can haul with the truck, and understanding how you can set up a different trailer from a weight perspective, and how that balancing can lead to either heavier, lighter, or perfect tongue weight for whatever tow vehicle you have. So again, you tow this with a half-ton truck at roughly 12,000 pounds gross trailer weight. You should be able to do it with the properly configured half-ton truck, just keeping a very close eye on how much weight you're actually transferring to the back of the truck or potentially removing from the back of the truck. Anyways, guys, I'm going to keep going with this and a few other projects. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, especially if you want to see the completion of this pond project, because I think it's going to look really good when we're done. Anyways, we'll talk to you again very soon.